everybody. Welcome here to our segment of Triple F, where we provide practical ways on how to be able to um, apply it to your faith, your family, and your finances. We are very honored on our second recording here to have this gentleman all the way from Paraguay on with us. RK Costello is here with us. And this segment is about our family. So we're going to talk about the importance of family and give you some practical ways on how to implement to create a better culture in your family. So with that, RK, I want to turn it over to you so you can introduce yourself. I apologize for keeping you up. It's 1 a.m. in the morning in Paraguay, and we had a time difference here messed up. But I'll turn it over to you, sir.
No, man, my pleasure to be here. Family is one of the most, if not the most important thing to God for the planet. And so love talking about family. It's my pleasure. So for me, I was born in Texas, grew up in New Mexico. My whole life, I wanted to join the military since I was 5 years old, and I saw the movie Top Gun, and that was my life plan since I was a little kid. Late in my senior year in high school, I got disqualified from the military because I had a knee surgery. They wouldn't let me in. So I was asking God, what in the world am I supposed to do with my life? And I saw a group of this group of strongmen came to my church, and they were breaking bricks and tearing phone books and bending metal bars in their teeth. And so when I saw them, I said, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do with my life. So I walked up to the guys and said, hey, what do I have to do to join your team? And they said, well, you got to go do this school. It was a school called the Discipleship Training School with an organization called YWAM, Youth with a Mission. So when I was 18 years old, instead of running off and joining the military, I became a missionary, and I started to travel the world. And I've had the opportunity to go to every single continent in the world except for Antarctica, see people get led to Jesus on every continent. I just it's been a real pleasure. It's been fun traveling the world doing these things with God. And then about 10 years ago, God called us to plant a church and start a church in Hawaii. So my wife is born and raised in Hawaii. And so we were in Hawaii there working. We worked with the homeless, the people who lived on the streets. And we had a little church for them. And then as we were praying, felt like God called us to come and pioneer a missions training base in Paraguay and South America. And so we made the transition a year ago, and we left Hawaii to make our way down here to South America. So that's where we're at now.
Wow, that's awesome, man. So at 18, you got into ministry. Wow. And how many kids do you have now, RK?
Now we got 3 kids, age 11, 10, and 6.
And they're all with your entire family in Paraguay, right?
Yep, that's right. Since the beginning, I said, you know what, we're going to do ministry as a family. I saw too many families where the dad was a pastor or a minister, and they just dragged the kids along with them. So in Hawaii, working with the homeless, since my kids were newborn babies, they were hanging out with the homeless, ministering to the homeless. Their friends were homeless people. So, we said we're going to do this as a family. It's a family thing. So we always did everything together.
Wow. That is so awesome, man. That is so awesome to be able to do what you envision to do, and not only do it with your significant other, but with your children as well. I mean, not every parent get to do that in the world we live in today. And so that congratulations to you for doing that. So let's talk about like, yeah, man, beautiful pictures of your family, man, beautiful family. We got
Yeah.
questions here we want to be able to ask you and just have a dialogue on the importance of family. You know, today, not only from an economic point of view, where it requires both parents to go to work, you know, and no one's at home with the children. And so, you know, there's so many moving parts in that question to be able to ask, like, who's responsible? What is family? I know you touched on it earlier. What does it really mean to you overall?
Yeah, you know, for me, family really is family's the future. I mean, you think about it, if families cease to exist, there would be no more future on our planet. I mean, everything would be done. And you know, for me, when I was when I was born, my mom was 17 years old. She was still in high school. My dad was 18 years old. And when I was 2 years old, my mom and my dad, they got divorced, and my dad moved away. I grew up with my mom, and I would spend summers with my dad. And you know, my whole life, I remember in my school, in my class, there was only one other kid in my class whose parents were divorced. And I remember feeling it being weird that that's how my family was. That you know, my dad lived in another city, and I would go visit him just in the summer times or Christmas time. And as I've got older, and I've worked with people, and I mean all over the world, I've realized that families are the most important thing, because I've seen it good and bad. If and I believe we're going to talk about this a little bit, is why is family important? But I've seen how having dysfunctional families leads to dysfunctional neighborhoods, and dysfunctional neighborhoods lead to dysfunctional cities. Dysfunctional cities lead to dysfunctional nations. And so, if you want to impact and change the world, you got to start in family. You know, so for me, family is the future. Without family, we have no future.
Wow, wow, that's really good, man. You know, I know that there are many people will not only listen in live, but many folks will listen to this on replay, and I just pray that it bless them in the way that it blesses us here receiving it live of what you just shared. It's funny because I think that's the first time I ever really heard someone put it in that perspective, that family is the future, right? And we always say that the children is our future. You know, as we take care of them, they take care of the next generation, and it's so true. Of what you share about that. What are some of the practical things that you mentioned about, you know, some of the things that we could do better? What are I know you touch on the importance of family, but what are some practical things that families could do, you know, given the circumstances that people encounter today? What could they do to restore their household back in order, and make it a priority of transformation? Because you know, I think it's so important. You mentioned that we don't focus on the fruit, we focus on the root of changing. And if you want to change it, we got to change it from the home front first. If we want to see a transformational city, a transformational future, it starts at home, at the root level. What are some practical things that people could do to restore their family back in order?
And you know, I think it goes all the way back to the beginning. You know, it says you know, God created this garden, and it says he put Adam and Eve in it, and it was the very first time he commanded people to do something. Do you know what the very first command that God gave people was in the garden? Do you remember?
No, not off the top of my head, to be honest.
He said the very first command he gave people was be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, and subdue it.
Mm,
And so God's original plan to bring transformation to the planet was through family, and and I love it that God says, you know what, be fruitful. If I can get down to the nitty gritty, if that's all right, Danny, is
please.
God was the one who created a husband and wife to want to have sex with each other so that they could be fruitful. And as they do that, then they begin to make children and multiply. And so the healthy families start off with having a healthy sex life that is rooted and grounded in God, because God was the one who put it inside of them to make them want to do it. It wasn't created by the devil. And it was created by God. He was the one who put hormones in you to make you want to do it. He's the one that created the parts to make it work so that you can make babies. And realizing that that's a family start with a man and a woman coming together and wanting to have relationship with each other. And that desire to be with your wife and the desire for the wife to be with her husband, I think that's the foundation of how God wanted to bring transformation to the planet, was through a relationship, husband and wife, and then making babies. So to get practical, there's a great book. I've been talking with some couples in our that are leading our training programs with us, and they're engaged, and so they're about to get married. And when I was first engaged, the first time my wife met me, God spoke to her and said, "This is your husband."
Mm.
And then she told me that. She says, "Hey, God spoke to me and said you're my husband." I said, "I can't tell you yes or no. I don't even know you." And long story short, in just about a month after that, we decided, yeah, we're going to get married. And so we needed to decide how are we going to make this work when we don't even know each other. And so a wise pastor said, you need to get as much counseling as you could possibly get. The premarital counseling. So one of the people recommended me this book called His Needs, Her Needs. And it's talking about how a guy in a relationship has a certain set of needs, and the girl and the husband has a certain set of needs, the wife has a certain set of needs, and you're constantly trying to meet needs. But if your needs aren't being met by your spouse, then you're going to try to get your needs met somewhere else. And so what's interesting is the needs for the wife are usually the opposite of the needs for the husband. So we need to be practical. So for example, as a husband, I know affection and love and love are the top thing that matters to her. Bringing family support, I'm going to pull up the actual list is
Okay.
So for the wife, she wants affection, she wants intimate conversation, she wants honesty and openness, financial support, and family connections, right? So those are the needs that the wife is wanting to get met. Now the husband is wanting to get sexual fulfillment. He wants a recreational companionship. He wants an attractive spouse. He wants domestic support, and he wants admiration. Now, those are two totally different things. And so if you want to have a good, healthy marriage, one of my mentors, when I was about to get married, he looked at me, he said, "Hey, you're going to get married?" And I said, "Yeah." He says, "Now, your job is to love your wife the same way that Jesus loved the church. And the way that Jesus loved the church was by dying for her. He says, so there's going to come times in your marriage where you're literally going to have to die to yourself so that your wife can have life. And I don't know how many times I've been in a discussion with my wife, and we're going back and forth, and then I remember my job right now is to die. And I need to die. I need to die to my need to be right. I need to die to my need to try to win this argument. Like I need to die to myself so my wife can have life. And my wife would tell you, like, that's because of that one philosophy that has been the thing that has held our marriage together. Now, the other thing, I have a philosophy in marriage that I call 100 and 0. Everyone says a marriage is 50-50, but if I'm only giving 50% in my marriage, I'm failing, because Jesus gave it all. And he gave it all for people who weren't asking for it. So it was 100% Jesus and 0 on our side, right? And so I think a husband and wife, it's 100-0. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to make sure that this marriage works. 100% me, 0% on her. And if she sees it the same way, where her job is give 100% and not expect anything back from me, then we're both giving 100 and 100. And it makes a difference when you're not trying to say, I'm only going to do this if you do this back for me, right? I'm saying I'm going to do whatever I can to meet your needs, because it's not about me just getting what I need. It's about me serving you. And then if the other partner does the same, you can see a breakthrough. Now, there's also a great book called 7 Principles for Making Your Marriage Work. There's this guy named John Gottman who scientifically studied marriage for decades. And he first started trying to figure out what would cause divorce. And so for 20 years, he scientifically studied what causes divorce. And he could listen to a couple discuss an area of disagreement for 5 minutes and can tell you with 91% accuracy who's going to get divorced from a 5-minute conversation. And so then he figured out, you know what, just by figuring out what causes divorce, it doesn't tell me what will actually make a marriage work. So then he went back into the lab and started studying, well, what actually makes marriages work? What makes them good? And so, I think what he found was really helpful. He calls it a sound relationship house. And so there's 7 things. It's build love maps, share fondness and admiration, turn towards each other, have a positive perspective, manage conflict, make life dreams come true, and create shared meaning. But I think is fun, and this is a principle that me and my wife have had since the beginning. One of the things he found is that healthy marriages, they actually kiss for an average of 6 seconds a day. So when you first get married, you're always making out, always kissing, and then it's like the longer you get married, the less you do that. But healthy couples still make out every single day for an average of 6 seconds. So there's a good place to start in a practical way to start helping your marriage, to start making out with your wife again.
I'm gonna have her hold her accountable to watching this a couple times. Oh man, that was so good.
So, but yeah. So, and the other thing is the marriage scientist. He found a ratio of positive to negative. Now, you might be surprised. You would think it wouldn't be what it is, but this is what he found. For a marriage to work, there needs to be a 20-to-1 ratio of 20 positive experiences to 1 negative experience. So every single person has a love bank, and you're constantly putting deposits into the love bank of the person. Now, to build your deposits in your love bank, kind of like you would in an actual bank. You're going to talk about finances, I assume, next week.
Yes.
To put deposits into your love bank, it's not it's not a lot of big things that you have to do for your spouse. It's a bunch of little things. He calls it turning towards each other. So husbands and wives are constantly putting out bids for attention. So for example, a guy sees something, like or reads something in a book or in a, he's looking at something and makes him laugh. So he shows it to his wife. He says, "What do you think about this?" Right? That's sending out a bid for attention. If she turns towards him and responds to that, boom, that's one love bank deposit made. And constantly couples are putting out bids, putting out bids, putting out bids. And the more you turn towards your partner throughout the day, the more you're filling up their love bank. And so I think about that. My wife is constantly putting out bids for attention. She's putting out bids for affection, and I can't ignore those or walk away from those. I got to put down my phone and the social media and turn towards my wife to make sure that her love bank is being filled up, so that we can hit that 20-to-1 ratio to keep our sound relationship house.
Awesome.
So can we move to kids?
Yes, totally. But I just want to interact real quick, because I think, like, from our audience point of view, so many marriage. I just thought about as you were speaking, and Holy Spirit showed me the picture. It's like most marriage couple, we say we don't have a manual, to really understand this, but I realize that if we don't make it an importance, I see you spitting off facts that you have studied, that you have personally, intentionally looked into. And, we see why there's a high rate of divorce in our society today, and so many spirit of orphans from a children point of view, because of us as men not taking responsibility, personal responsibility for our marriages to be better. I think, we fall in that puppy love, and then, after that, it's like, you hope and wish that it shows up, but I thank you for it. I thank you for not only the practical ways, but just those little things that we could do from a woman's point of view, and then also from a man's point of view, to keep our marriage at a high level, at the level 10, where we constantly pursuing one another. So appreciate that.
Yeah, I think I heard this saying years ago: if you want your marriage to work, you got to work on your marriage. And so it's not something that is just gonna happen. Like, if you just want to cruise along and hope it happens, it's not gonna happen. It's something that you have to decide to work on. It's like going to the gym, or it's like it's building habits. It's something that you have to intentionally do. So I found out that my wife's love language was acts of service. And and the first thing she would do, if she ever went out, if she came home, the first thing she would do is she would look around to see what was done for her while she was gone. And then I realized, she's an acts of service love language. So the reverse of that is, whenever I come home, I need to look around to see if she did anything while I was gone, because that's her love language. So she did something, if it was cleaning the house or cleaning up or organize something, doing something while I was gone, that's her way of her saying that she loves me. So for me, I got to get home and I got to look, and then I got to affirm what she did while I was gone. Now, the other thing is, every night I fill up a water for her before we go to bed, and then every morning I make her a tea in the morning, and then right before she goes off to her class, I make her a coffee. And all those things are because she's a love language of acts of service, and so those are things that I need to do to make sure that she knows that she matters to me in a practical way.
So awesome, brother. So awesome. I remember having my kids at one of the To Hawaii seminars that you were speaking on, and you were teaching about family and just the concept of eating a meal together. And so we'll segue into that. But I appreciate you, just sharing your heart about the responsibility of a family. It starts with us as parents first, you know, and if we don't have our affairs in order and we're not standing on great foundation, we can't be able to pass down or give our kids something we don't have. And so why don't we finish up with that? Like, I'm so amazed that you get to live the lifestyle that you live in doing ministry of what you've been called purposely to do. But not only that, but doing it as a family. I am mind blown, brother. I mean, with your children, I just, you know, just think it's one of the most amazing things, you know. So I would turn it over to you to share.
No, you know, like I remember when our first daughter was born, and well, every time one of our kids was born, you look at it and you have this little human being in your hands and you realize, oh man, this is a little human who God has entrusted me with. And and you feel this huge amount of responsibility for this little human being, because you know that you could either do this well or you could royally screw this up. And this isn't a product that you can return. This is a human being that will grow up and do something in this planet. And you know, we work with young people, training young people up for missions. And part of the training, every single training, we have a week where we do Father Heart of God, and then we have like a Freedom Week where they work through some of their issues to get free from issues. Here in Paraguay, where we work, 80% of women were sexually abused or molested. 8 out of 10, you know. And as you work through these Freedom Weeks and or these inner healing weeks, you realize that a lot of these people, their parents royally jacked them up. You know, so I you know, when my daughters and my son were born, I said, man, what do I need to do? What do I need to become so that when they grow up and they go off to their mission training and they go through their Freedom Week, their inner healing week, their you know, their thing, where their father has not royally screwed them up. You know what I mean? Like, man, I think about that all the time, you know, because I know fathers who have, you know, they, you know, because I hear the things they say that their fathers did to them, the things that their fathers said to them, and how it affected their lives, and you know. But so I said, man, I want to be intentional with my kids. I want to be able to show these kids what the love of God is like, because the earthly father is the representative of Father God. And Jesus, when he came, he said he did nothing of himself. He only did what he saw the Father doing. And so if you want to know what God the Father is like, look at the life of Jesus, because that's what he's like. He's a good father. And so I said, man, I want to represent God well to my kids. So so every single night before they go to bed, I remind them of who they are. I speak a blessing over them. I bless each one of my kids before they go to bed. And then I you know, I pray the blessing of the Lord bless you and keep you, cause his face to shine on you, turn his face towards you and give you some peace. You know what I mean? Like every single night I want to bless my kids, because I want the blessing of God to go on them. I want my kids to be a blessing magnet. I say from in our family tree, when it hit me and my wife, our family tree changed, right? There's a verse in the Bible that says the curse will go down to your children's children, right? So it's the curse can go down 3 or 4 generations, but it says the blessing will go down 1,000 generations. So that I know that a blessing is exponentially more powerful than a curse. And so that when I speak a blessing over my kids' lives, it's going to not just change their lives, but our family tree is forever changed because of the blessing coming on my kids' lives, because it'll go down 1,000 generations. So so some practical things. I found out that if you have 3 meals or less with your kids a week, they're 3.5 times more likely to do hard drugs. They're more likely to smoke and drink and be involved in risky behavior. You know, if you share 5 meals with your kids a week, you're radically going to impact their future. And we're already eating 3 meals a day, most of us. You know, some bodybuilders are eating 6 meals a day or whatever. You know, like, you know, all you got to do is you got to just include your family in 5 of those meals. You know, but sitting down with families and family members and whatnot, you realize like people have never built up that skill set of, well, what do you do when you sit at the table? You know, like for some families, it's really awkward. They've never sat at a table together. So they don't know how to act. You know, so we created these cards. We call them 5-5-5 cards. 5 times talk, 5 times eat, and 5 times pray. And it was just a tool to help families. Like, okay, we're gonna try to do this thing where we're gonna eat together 5 times a week. You know, like, so for some families, it's we're gonna eat breakfast together. You know, for some families, it's we're gonna have dinner together 5 times a week. And then you bring out these cards and it has 20 questions on it. You know, like, and so I would just say to my kids, okay, pick a number between 1 and 20, and you know, they choose one of the numbers, and there's a question, and so you just go around and you have the kids each ask have them ask a question, and you just go around the table and each one of you answer the question. And really it's just it's a springboard to be able to talk and communicate with your kids, so that you know, your kids feel like they have a relationship with you. And you know, it's just a springboard, is a jumping off point. George Barna, they're a Christian research group. They studied a group of kids. They call them spiritual champions. They're kids that grew up in Christian families, and then they became successful Christian adults. And they went and they studied the kids, and then they studied the parents, and tried to determine what led a kid to being a spiritual champion. This is one of the things I thought was really interesting. The kids who were spiritual champions, their parents spent an average of 90 to 120 minutes a day talking with their kids, where the other group of kids who walked away from God when they became adults, their parents spent about 15 minutes talking to them a day. And so for me, that's always the goal that I'm striving to. Like, how can I talk to my kids more throughout the day? And you know, it means I got to sit down and I got to watch TikTok videos that I really don't want to watch. You know, my kids are young, so they got Minecraft videos or you know, they watch these things, and I'm like, I have zero desire to watch any of these things that they're watching. But I know that if I'm sitting down with my kids, I'm getting closer to that 90 to 120 minute mark every single day of spending some quality time with my kids. And you know, the other thing is, I've always wanted my kids to experience and see the reality of God, and not just hear stories, not just have it be something that they hear about on Sundays, but that they see in their everyday life at church. And so, you know, just a couple months ago, we were going into a neighborhood, and I brought my 10-year-old daughter with me, and we're sitting there talking to a family, and my 10-year-old daughter says, "Dad, I think one of them has a problem in their knees." Mm-hmm. And so we asked the guy, I said, "Hey, do you have knee problems?" He goes, "Yeah." And I watched as my 10-year-old daughter, she got up and she prayed for the guy, and the guy got supernaturally healed right in front of us. So God spoke to her that the guy had a problem, then she got to watch God heal the guy. And so for me, man, that's so important that my kids get to see that God is real, lived out right in front of them, you know? And that just comes from for me going and taking risks and trying to do God things with my kids, and processing through things, you know, when they don't go as planned. But when they do go as planned, man, it sure is fun to watch my kids see these things happening, you know.
That's so awesome, man. That's so awesome. Gosh, I'm just at all lost for word in some ways, and also reflected and replayed some of the trainings I remember at the Fuchinaka's household, where you were teaching us how to be able to heal and pray for people, to recognize certain things, and you know, even on a bigger stage at Toho Hawaii. And so what I hear from you is that you invested the time, you took it as a priority and said, if it's to be, it's up to me to change the culture in my house and how my family is going to look. And you know, unfortunately, there's not too many people. A lot of people have not gotten to take that personal responsibility in so many ways. As we wrapping up here, RK, we appreciate your wisdom, and then also your sacrifice to be up at almost 2 a.m. in the morning now, sharing and giving. Appreciate you, brother. What are some last words that you would share with some of our audience, someone that's listening to this on replay? What would be like a impartation or, you know, just last words that you would share for someone to, hey, take this step, you know, you can do this. You start off with this, or you know, so many people I believe will get a lot. I mean, I know that a lot of people will get a lot from this, and they want to take that first step. What would be that first step?
Man, you know, I'm sitting here thinking, and the thing that comes to my mind is there's a verse in the Bible that says, "We love because He first loved us." So you can only give away what you have. So that would be the very first thing, man, is I would begin to pray like, God, I need you. I need to encounter your love so I can love my wife. I can love my kids the way that you love me. And I think that is the best place to start, because we need to we need to take personal responsibility and realize, like, if change is going to come, it's going to come because I took responsibility, and I take full ownership of what has to happen in my family. And so when you do that, you say, God, man, I need your help. And you know, some of these things are, you know, they're in our day and age, everyone's on their phones, everyone's on their iPads and their computers all the time. And so we need to say, okay, God, get away from the computer, get away from the phone, get with God and say, God, man, I need your help. What do I need to do? And then do the next thing that He tells you to do. You know, like, I love when Jesus taught us to pray, He said, give us today our daily bread. I think of the Israelites when they were in the wilderness. Every single day, manna would fall from heaven, and they would go out and they would pick it up. If they picked up too much manna, it would rot. You know, you only picked up what you needed for that day. And so when Jesus says, give us today our daily bread, Jesus says, my bread is to do the will of the Father. So every single day, there's a little chunk that God wants you to do. Your job is only to do the one thing that He called you to do today. You don't got to do what He's saying tomorrow. You just got to do what He said to do today, and love well.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Brother, go get some rest. We thank you, RK. Please share our aloha with the family, and we'll definitely circle back and connect with you later on. So we appreciate you, brother. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, and then also your walk and your faith with all of us, man. We're so grateful, so grateful. Thank you so much. Hey guys, that is it, man. What an incredible family show here. We had Pastor RK Costello sharing his journey all the way from Paraguay on how he's been able to walk it out, not only with him and his wife, and then transforming his children and is unreal. So I hope that if you get this on replay, that you share it with people. We do have a giveaway. Following up next week, we call it a Takeaway Thursday. So if you watch this and you share it with people, we're going to choose, your name is going to go into a drawing for a gift certificate. We got a Starbucks gift certificate, we got Amazon gift certificate, and we have local certificate here for Mini Snack Lounge if you are here in Honolulu, Hawaii, that you can win. But we will announce those winners on Takeaway Thursday when we come back next Thursday. So we appreciate you guys very much. Thank you for the support here with Triple F. And again, thank you, Pastor RK. We appreciate you. Get some rest. And also to the team, Triple F, Sherry and Virgil, thank you for all the support as well. That is a wrap, guys. Look, coming up on our next show after in May, we have finances, right? We had faith, family, and we're going to have finances with none other than Tony Scotti. The gentleman has had over 200 investment properties, teaching people how to reduce debt and save money, and then also teaching wealth as well. And so we'll have Tony Scotti is also the president of Epic Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization that helps our youth here in Hawaii. And then they do many varieties of things locally here in Honolulu that will be on. We'll feature him here on how to increase your finances for those of you who want to increase your finances. But we're going to do Takeaway Thursday from RK Share next week. So aloha, everyone. God bless. And thank you so much, sir.
All right. God bless you guys.